All right, the last workflow that we're going to talk about is when you make a sale. For high ticket specifically, this is the close client journey workflow. This is a little bit difficult to talk about because everyone's process is a little different. And we've set this up as I believe, a 12-week standard kind of coaching program, but everyone's is different. So I'm going to kind of go through this and show you sort of the concept, not so much the content, but more the concept. So they've come in and I've got two different triggers here, and I do this for a reason, and I'll explain. One could be a tag. So maybe you have an automation when someone fills out a form, like an onboarding form, that could trigger a tag. Like you have another workflow where they fill it out and they become a purchaser and you tag them as that. Or one of your sales team or your team changes their tag inside of Elite 360 to be a purchaser, that would trigger this workflow automatically. There's another one though here, which is the opportunity status has changed. So in the system with opportunities, it's kind of like, sales pipeline or like a Trello board where you can drag people over into a different pipeline. Your sales team might do that, and that could trigger this as well. So I've set it up two different options. We walk through that in our Elite 360 training. But anyway, so we're going to remove all the tags. Really, really important conceptual thing that you need to understand here. There's nothing more embarrassing than you continuing to market your offer to people who have already purchased your offer. This is especially true if you start doing things like re-offers and discounts or Black Fridays or, different types of things. People can get pissed. They can be like, well, wait a minute, I just paid XYZ and now you're offering this, got to be really cognizant of that. And so I remove all their tags immediately is what I would do. Move them into your client workflows. If you have any kind of membership offer, like you do courses, so Elite 360 obviously does, you can have all your courses, you can do all of that stuff in here. You can grant your membership offer into there. If you have a community inside Elite 360, you can do that as well. Of course, you should have a standard welcome email where you're kind of taking people through the process of getting started, right? So this is the first week. So in the second week, we're going to wait for that period. This is their 2-week check-in. So they've been in your program for 2 weeks. The first week, they're getting this stuff. They're getting their onboarding. The second week, and if you wanted to include, again, text or voicemail, you should include those here as well. Welcome aboard. Make a big deal out of it. Celebrate those people. A voicemail drop, very specific to your offer. You're so excited to work with them. Walk them through the next steps. Okay. Very, very important. And you should have some sort of onboarding form as well inside of our system here. We've got an onboarding page that we give. This is our template. So it's a very simple, it's just a template, right? But you should have something similar to this where it's like you're getting started steps and what they need to do and all of the stuff that they need to do. You should also have a meta pixel on here where you're firing, the exact step, or the exact meta conversion that you wanted to fire, so meta knows that you've made a high ticket sale. I'm just saying. Okay. So from here on out, all the rest of these are just going to be check-ins. It's really cool. There's a lot of stuff that you can do here that can be really, really powerful. And one of the things that we give you in our main offer funnel is an onboarding or a weekly accountability form. And this is what we take you through in training, and we recommend that you do. Have it set up so you're automatically sending people out a form. And this is just a placeholder because we can't possibly build you a form based on your offer. So you'd build it out similar to this. Like this is a one that's around lead generation and marketing for me, which makes sense because that's what I would be doing, right? I'm checking this type of information and I'm sending this out, these are the things that I would want to know if I was working with this client. If you really want to get specific and really cool, you can say in your emails, check this out. You can come in here and let's just say somewhere in here, I'm just going to pick a spot. I wouldn't say it has nothing to do with the text. So I'm just going to show you right here. Let's by the way, I noticed in your check-in form, you said, and then I'm going to do contact, custom value, custom fields. So if you know what your question is, what was your goal for last week? Did you reach it? Write what you did if it worked well. You said your goal for last week was boom. And then it's actually going to fill in what they put there, which is really, really cool. Okay. You could ask them. So you could be very specific. Now that's a little high level. We don't cover that in our onboarding trainings for Elite 360 because it can get a little over the head of people, but it's a really powerful thing. You can get very granular and very specific with these custom fields that people are filling out on your forms that you're giving them, which can be really, really helpful. It'll give you a use case scenario. Let's say you're in the weight loss space. A weight loss goal was to lose 10 pounds in a week. or in 30 days, let's say, and around your 30-day mark, which would be week 4, your 30-day check-in email, maybe you could say, hey, when you got started, you said your 30-day goal was to get 10 pounds. Where are you at right now? So what I'm saying is you could insert that custom value to what their weight loss goal was, and you'd be very specific. And so this is a way to automate and use AI, and not AI specifically, but automation to automate some of the manual process so that you can work with more people at once. Imagine having, if you've got 10 clients, having to check in with all of them throughout every week. You're going to be spending, maybe an hour a week. And you might, well, Ben, that's not too much, but that's a lot of time that you should be spending in other places on sales calls or doing lead generation or whatnot. So this is a standard 12-week journey, a 12-week coaching program. If you want to add more weeks to this, you absolutely could. And it's really easy to do that. At the end of it, I would recommend adding like a program grad tag and then moving them to some other stage in your pipeline, just so you can see it. The pipelines are just so you can see. You can have a visual representation and just to show you what those look like, right? These are the pipelines. Here's the client journey, for example. So, this is the template. You could have an at a glance view of what they all look like or where people are at in that journey. And it's just a way to keep things organized. If you want me to go back and I'll show you the main offer, those were the pipelines we were tagging with people through as they became a new lead, right? Cold lead, they booked a call, they didn't show, they canceled. Just all the pipelines do is they give you an at a glance view, and you can go in and, hey, I want to focus on all these people that didn't show, or I want my sales team to focus on all the people who canceled. I want my coaches and CSMs to focus on all of my closed clients. And you could create these separate pipelines for all of your client success managers or CSMs. You could create different pipelines for all of your sales team. We even have them for like low ticket as well, because we give you a low ticket workflow as well in this system. That's the close client workflow, whatever you call these are all just templates that you have to work with here. As you look back through these, I'm not going to go through the main low ticket ones, but it's pretty self-explanatory, right? If they purchase low ticket, we take them through this process of we're using low ticket here as a strategy to upsell a book call to high ticket. So there's an assumption made through this funnel that you're just using low ticket as a lead magnet. So maybe it is important that I spend some time on this. You know what? I'll do that in the next lesson, and we'll dive into that a little bit because it is important. So I'll see you in that next lesson.